Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching the brand new edition of To The Point. I'm Kriti Mishra. And on today's show, we have a very special guest with us, Secretary General of the Upper House of Parliament or Rajya Sabha, Mr. Desh Deepak Verma. Sir, welcome to Rajya Sabha TV and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Sir, the budget session of Parliament or the 253rd session of the Rajya Sabha is over. What were the major takeaways?
Well, this session in continuation we organized during the pandemic, and it was once again done with the social distancing norms, and also because of the COVID situation, lots of things were, lots of circulation of papers, lots of activities were done digitally. So, there are two major things which we must remember, that one, to organize this session during this period, maintaining all the social distancing norms and not compromising on any of the activities of the House or the quality of the functioning, and two, that this was also a learning process not only for the honorable members, but also for the Secretariat to learn how to work digitally. So, there are lots of activities, lots of papers were transmitted digitally. These were two, I think, major achievements of the session.
Sir, also the fact that this was the second session under the shadow of the pandemic. You were talking about the digital accomplishments. Let me focus on the challenges. The challenges from the first session under the pandemic and now the second session. How did it go through?
You see, the pandemic, as you must have seen, that now people are talking of the second wave of pandemic. In the first wave of the pandemic, there was a lot of concern and a little bit of fear also in the people. So, people were following those norms very strictly. When this session came, the impression was that everything has gone all right, and therefore, to convince the people who were involved, the members, the Secretariat employees, to take it up so seriously, equally seriously even now, and follow all these norms was one challenge that we had to have this time. We had to have all the RT-PCR tests again, once again to be done. RT-PCR are rapid antigen tests which were to be done. The other challenge was because since this was a budget session, so members are hugely interested in the finance documents, budget documents. So, to give the economic survey, to give the budget papers in a digital form, and for them to accept it and for them to actually go through it, get prepared and come prepared for the discussions, for the debate, was a huge challenge, and we thought it will take some time for the members to accept it, but happily the whole process has been very, very seamless, very smooth. Members accepted this, even though we have kept a few physical copies also for them to see when they come here, but most of it was accepted. People participated in the discussion in the same way as they used to do it earlier when the papers were distributed physically.
Absolutely, sir, and also the fact that for the first time the budget documents or the budget paper, that went paperless. So, how difficult was it?
Yes, in fact, it was, to tell you the truth, quite seamless, because we had coordinated even before the budget session. We had coordinated with the Finance Ministry, and the Finance Ministry has done it and transmitted to us the digital copy of the documents, budget documents, economic survey, and we transmitted it to the members through their login portal, on which lot of work was done, and therefore, the members got the papers in time. There was total satisfaction among them, and the discussions were based on the documents which are transmitted, and meaningful, useful, purposeful.
E-notices, sir, more than 9,000 e-notices were received.
Yes.
How did the vetting go? How did you manage?
Well, when the notices, of course, e-notices we started in the earlier sessions and we continued in this session. And I am very happy to share it with the viewers of the Rajya Sabha TV, that even though the members are quite used to and accustomed to working digitally and see these papers physically, they have accepted the e-notices gladly, and that is why there is a huge number of e-notices which have been received. We have made some changes in our rules also, because the e-notices we used to have physically. When the notices were received, we had some time limits that it will be received between such and such time. E-notices could be sent at any point of time. So, we changed into our rules also as to how to prioritize that, so that the people who send it digitally and people who send it physically, they are not discriminated against each other. So, each group has its fair treatment, and based on that the e-notices were numbered, serialized and put it for consideration, and there has been no complaint on this issue.
Even the members portal, all the parliamentary papers are being uploaded there?
Yes, now in fact through the members portal, we are almost transacting entire business of the parliament, and as the time goes, we are relying more and more of it on it, and almost every communication, every document is going through the portal. There are some problem with some members because their staff was not trained or they were themselves not accustomed to it, but over the time they have become quite used to it, and as we can see that towards the end we have been able to actually convince them to make use of it in more and more fashion. There are some members, especially the new members, who have desired that there should be a training program for them to use these portals and how to make maximum benefit out of it. So, we are planning, we have in fact discussed with the NIC people, and with the support of the NIC, we would soon be organizing a training program for not only the new members, even the old members who want to be briefed about it or who want to actually do it online. So, this will be like an on the job training, in which the members will be given these papers and they will be asked to open it in front of a computer and see as to how it can be utilized, and if there are any teething problems, the NIC and our staff, they will be able to solve that. So, that training will further boost the use of digitized papers in the parliament.
So, your training program also reminds me of the orientation program that you conducted for the new members. In fact, during his valedictory address, Chairman also congratulated you and your officers for this wonderful program, wherein the members have also expressed their happiness and satisfaction. How difficult it is to organize this kind of a program and ensure participation of the members, because this time we saw record participation as well?
In the initial part of your interview, you asked me a question as to what is the takeaway, major takeaway. So, I forgot to mention that, but this is one major takeaway of this session. Of course, it did not happen inside the session during the Saturday and Sunday, but and it was difficult to organize because every day we were working, and then Saturday, Sunday we had to organize this. But to all of those who were involved in the organization of this program, for all who participated and for all the guest lecturers, it was a hugely satisfying exercise, because the new members, in fact, there were some members who were very apprehensive as to how this program will go, whether it will succeed, will the members come. And to tell you the truth, not only a record number of MPs came for this orientation program, they participated. I mean, they had participated in the House proceedings till Friday, and Saturday, Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. they were working, and they participated in each session, and the quality and the content of these programs and these sessions were also very good, because we had invited, we were not giving them the training. We do it every 2 years, because every 2 years the new members are inducted here in the Rajya Sabha, 1/3 retire and new members come. So, every 2 years we organize this orientation program, and in this orientation program we talk about the processes of the parliament, we talk about the amenities and facilities which are available to the members, but more importantly we talk about how the members can benefit and how can they use the different parliamentary processes to actually participate in the discussions, to bring the problems that they are facing, their constituency people are facing before the House, and how to get the maximum advantage of that. We had some very experienced parliamentarians, not necessarily the present ones or the sitting ones, who came and gave lecture, and they talked about their experience, and they also talked about the various basic issues regarding the functioning of the parliament. So, on the whole, it was a very, very successful effort, and everybody is so happy about it.
Absolutely, sir. We completely vouch for it, because even the members during the program on RSTV also said that this was a very satisfying experience where they've enriched their knowledge. But moving on, sir, and talking about the session, the 253rd session, sir, mid-session we saw a change, wherein from the staggered timings of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, it was resumed to the normal 11 a.m. and also the fact that Rajya Sabha chamber and the galleries were used. How did that come about?
You remember in the last session, we had decided to use the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha chambers and also the galleries. We connected them digitally, and this was also a very smooth conduct of the proceedings, in which the Rajya Sabha became part of the Lok Sabha and Lok Sabha became part of the Rajya Sabha. It was also a unique experience in which members participated. But after some time, when things were cooling down and we felt that we can now move towards the normal situation. So, in the second part of the budget session, we decided that we will bring the members back to not exactly the chamber of the this house, but also the galleries. So, this time the Rajya Sabha members were seated inside the chamber and inside the galleries, and for that we made arrangements for their translation and simultaneous interpretation, their listening, etc., everything on in the galleries as well as in the chamber, and members could be brought to the chamber. So, they felt at home, because they are used to talking and speaking here. So, they felt at home, and it was a good experience for them. They are able to see the chairperson, and they are able to see each other. So, that kind of a warmth and bonhomie that came through this kind of a new arrangement, that was remarkable. But noticeable thing is that in spite of this, the social distancing norms were still maintained and all precautions were still taken.
Absolutely, sir. One of these striking features that we remember during our parliamentary reportage was that of voting process. We've been seeing electronic voting, but it was during this pandemic. The first half, of course, we saw during the Major Ports Authority bill, and the second part we saw during the government of NCT of Delhi bill. Of course, it was for consideration of the bill. From electronic voting to the paper ballot, the transition and the difficulty, and also the fact that I remember that the results were the same, which were subject to correction, were final results.
Yeah.
How did it happen?
Well, this time the electronic voting was not possible, not because there was any problem in the functioning of the machine or there was any problem regarding the arrangements to be made. The problem was that the members were not sitting on their designated seats. We were not able to give them designated seats in the Rajya Sabha, for the simple reason they had to sit with a distance. And because of that, it was decided that this time, and even the earlier session, we will do the voting by the physical distribution of slips. And in the slips, they have to in fact mark yes, no or abstain. And this was done again because we did a full dress rehearsal. We in fact, when do the full dress rehearsal, we have some members of the staff sitting as the parliamentarians, and then some people distributing the slips, and the entire exercise is done as if the parliament session is on. So, we did this exercise with people standing in our officials standing in the galleries, people standing in the chamber, collecting the slips from their members. We explained the process also to them, and then collected the slips from them, and then we do announce the results. But as is our practice, that whenever we announce the results, we always say that it is subject to correction, for the simple reason that if a member objects to later, or there is some technical glitches noticed, so that can be corrected. So, because of that, even in electronic voting and even in this physical voting through slips, we always announce the results subject to correction.
Absolutely, sir. And talking about the productivity, recently we've seen this, that the productivity has been increasing over time. Of course, Chairman has been holding discussions with the party leaders to ensure that the House functions. Even the budget session of Parliament or the 253rd session of Rajya Sabha, over 90% productivity. How do you take that? You've had long experience, you're seeing this productivity, how do you take that?
Yeah, firstly, let me tell you that because of our Honorable Chairman's constant efforts and reminding members to be productive, to discuss, debate and decide and not disrupt, the members have been taking the proceedings and the business before the House quite seriously, and that is why it is manifested in the fact that the productivity of the House has been constantly improving or is remaining constant at a very highly improved level. And I am very happy to tell you that in the first session, the productivity was 99, more than 99%, and even in the second session it was about 85%, which comes out to an average of 90%, which is again a very, very satisfying figure. And if you see the figures a few years before and now, you will see a marked improvement in the productivity of the House, and that is why this time about 19 bills have been passed, which itself is a record, and some of them very substantial one, and which lots of debate have been held. And that too, when we had to also discuss during the session, we had a presidential address, we also had discussion on the budget, discussion on the appropriation bill, and also discussion on the ministries.
Which earlier was always listed but could never materialize.
Yes, discussion on the ministries, in fact, the discussion on ministries is a freewheeling discussion. There is no voting involved in this, there is no motion before the House which is to be passed or is to be defeated. So, members make a very satisfactory contribution to that. They participate in the discussion, contribute to it, give very good suggestions to the minister, and there is not a urge only to criticize, but to contribute to the functioning of that ministry. So, that is a very good in fact achievement of this session, that we could successfully discuss 3 ministries, and Jal Shakti, tourism and food processing. So, these 3 ministries were discussed. This happened after a long time that the 3 ministries were discussed. The ministers gave very good replies and people made very good suggestions for the functioning of the ministry, which was taken in a very upright manner and very sportingly by the minister concerned. So, that is a very good sign, I think, for the functioning of the House and for the democracy.
Sir, another remarkable feature, that all the 0-hour submissions and almost all the special mentions are taken up in the House. Of course, Chairman has congratulated the members for their cooperation and of course, the astute time management of the chair.
Yeah, this is and this is also a manifestation of the fact that because some members sometimes complain that we do not get enough time to participate in the discussion. But if you really look at it, as you are aware that for the 0 hour, only 3 minutes are given. After 3 minutes, the machine will automatically get off and there will be no sound. So, he can't speak beyond 3 minutes, it will not go on record. But within those 3 minutes, as they say that brevity is the soul of wit. So, just because it is to be condensed into 3 minutes, very, very concrete contribution, very powerful expression, very meaningful suggestions, they come through these 3 minutes contribution of the 0 hour, and issues ranging from A to Z, which were bothering a part of the country about which the rest of the country may not be aware, those come up before the House, people get to know, and the concerned government, the concerned ministries get sensitized. So, all the questions, all the 0 hour was taken up, and all the special mention, because in the special mention you have to give a text and you have to read it. So, but through that also people were able to raise the issues relating to their constituencies or even issues relating to the country on the whole, and those were also successfully completed. So, in 1 hour time we were able to take up, and in the first session even half an hour's time, we were able to take up all the 0 hours and all the special mentions. That also was a great achievement for this, and for this our chairman and honorable deputy chairman and our speakers, our vice chairman, they made a very good time management, did a very good time management to allow all the members, and the satisfaction level among the MPs also was very high.
So, that was the achievement of the House, but beyond House, the 8 department related parliamentary standing committees serviced by the Rajya Sabha. They have also seen marked improvement in terms of the output, in terms of the attendance, in terms of the hours of meeting as well.
Yes, and that also has been a remarkable achievement during the last few months, because honorable chairman has been mentioning in the House about the functioning of the department related standing committees. This was not the practice earlier, this was started recently, in which we started just give the statistics as to what has been the participation of the members, what has been the duration of the standing committee, what is the average, which standing committee has done the best, and which one is the last. So, without naming committees, without naming the MPs, and only mentioning the good work which was done, there has been a good response and enthusiasm among the chairmen of the standing committees and the MPs to participate more and more into the deliberations of these committees, and there is a constant improvement in the functioning of the department relating standing committee. So, this also is a major achievement which should be flagged and people should take notice of.
Absolutely, sir. And lastly, as the session is over, what is now the agenda of the Secretariat, the priority of the Secretariat?
Well, we organize our work in the Secretariat in 2 parts. One when the session is there and the one when the session is not there. So, during the session, of course, we participate in the day-to-day activities. It is more of a day-to-day kind of a management of the work. But when the session is not there, then during this period we take up all issues which are concerning the Secretariat functioning, regarding the personnel issues of the employees, their welfare issues, and also the various activities relating to the improvement of the functioning of the society. As you are aware, we already have a committee which had looked into the rules of the Secretariat, of the conduct of business. So, now we are going to work on that. There is also a paper now regarding the improved time management, because smaller parties have been complaining that they do not get much time for discussion. So, we are trying to evolve a system in which the smaller parties also get enough representation and enough time to speak. So, that work will be done during this session.
I am sorry, sir, I am intrigued to know what kind of system is the Secretariat looking at, because this has been the complaint of the MPs for a very long time.
You see what, it is very simple. It is based on the concept of, you can say, Antyodaya. So, what we do is that because the time management, the time distribution is done on the basis of the strength of the members. But there could be some parties which are dominant in a part of the country, and therefore, they may not have enough numbers in the Rajya Sabha, but their views are also important. And in a multicultural society like ours, we need to give importance to people standing last in the row, which means the parties which have a lesser number of people. So, in the concept of Antyodaya, I will call it Antyodaya management of the time, that we take up the people in the last, which means people less than 5 members, the parties with less than 5 members, we allot them a minimum time for each speaker, and the rest of the time is only distributed among the employees, among the parties for participation in the debates. And I am very happy that most of the parties, even the bigger parties, BJP to mention one, the Samajwadi Party, and there are several parties which have given their consent to this, and we are working on it, and hopefully we will evolve with the system.
Absolutely, sir. That's a big takeaway for me from this interview. On that note, thank you so much for this erudite conversation.
Thank you very much.
So that's all we have for you in this edition of To The Point. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.